Hi, my name is Selange Giannetto. I'm 41 years old and I live in a small town called St. Charles, Illinois that's 30 miles west of Chicago. Today I'm going to make for you Indian flatbread, which is called roti, and we're going to add some Italian ingredients on top of that. I'm married to an Italian, so that's where that sort of comes in, and my favorite food in the world is probably Indian food because I love the bold flavors, so we're going to mix the two together. What we're going to do first is we're going to start out, we're going to roll out our roti, and what we've done with the roti is that I've seasoned it with toasted fennel and a little bit of sage, and what that's going to do is mimic sausage flavor. So in our household we have both omnivore and vegans. I'm vegan and so is my youngest, Silvana, who's 6, and my oldest is a meat eater, Isabella, who's 9. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to roll this out and stretch it out into an oblong shape so we can put it on the grill. As far as cooking goes, I've been cooking for as long as I can remember. When I was little, when I was 5 years old, my aunt let me make a cake for the first time. I was 5 and I was just able to look over the table, and we put together a cake. I iced it and everything, and everybody said it was delicious, and it probably wasn't in any way, shape, or form. As I got older, my father and I used to watch PBS and watch Justin Wilson and Julia Child and Jeff Smith make all sorts of delicious goodies, and we would try to recreate those in the kitchen while my other friends were out jumping double dutch and playing softball and things like that. Fast forward even further in life, and I was in between jobs and I was trying to figure out what to do after I'd gone through my 3rd college and my 3rd major. I had a chance to go to Columbia College and I started majoring in television. And due to an assignment that I got a chance to go and watch Emeril Lagasse do a short television program in the city at the Cooking and Hospitality Institute of Chicago. And I thought watching him was one of the coolest things in the world, and I wanted to be him. So that very same day, after I got his cookbook signed, I enrolled in the Cooking and Hospitality Institute's 13-month program and started cooking for a very short while, but I realized after a bit of time, you can't make a lot of money cooking professionally. Now that we've rolled this out, we're going to brush it with a little bit of garlic oil. So what I've done earlier is I've peeled garlic and I've added a little bit of chili flake and some neutral oil, just some corn oil, and I let it slow cook for about 20 minutes until the garlic got nice and golden brown, and it had almost a nutty smell to it, so I knew that it was done. I have a grill pan here that's been heating up for a while, and what I'm going to do is gently lay this down, and I'm going to try to get some grill marks. You can do this outside as well. If it was warmer, I probably would. But we're going to let that sit, and you'll know that it's starting to get to the point where it's done when it starts to get a little bit of puff to it, because we have just a little bit of leavener in there, so it's a quick flatbread with just very few ingredients. The other thing that we're going to make is that we have white beans that I pureed earlier, and I've taken the roasted garlic and put that in, and we're going to grate just a little bit of lemon zest, and I'm using my fancy grater here, zester here, which is one of my favorite ingredients. You can use it for all sorts of things. You can grate nutmeg. I've grated chocolate. Obviously, we're doing lemon, but you can also do some other cool things. If you want, there's also all sorts of exotic spices and things that I've used it for. Jaggery, which is Indian sugar, I've used as well, and used grater to get it in there. So now I have my lemon zest. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to season it. We're going to add a little bit of fresh ground pepper. I know it's not the fanciest peppermill in the world, but it gets it done. And we're going to mix that all together. And what I'm using the white bean paste for is a binder, and almost like a cheese, so to speak, for our flatbread. Because like I said, we're vegan here, so we don't use cheese, but it's going to give us a binder to hold all the other ingredients in place. So we're going to give this a little taste, make sure we seasoned it correctly, and it is. Let's check on the flatbread we have here. We should start to see a little bit of color, and we got a little bit of grill mark there. We're going to let it cook just a little bit longer. And what I'm going to do before I turn it over, I'm going to brush it again lightly with that oil to make sure it doesn't stick. Just recently, I competed in a local cooking competition at a suburb that's just a couple of miles south of here called Sugar Grove. And what they did is a chop competition, and we had 5 ingredients in 3 hours that we got a chance to cook in our own home. And unbeknownst to the judges, I was vegan. I had to cook short ribs. So we came up with, our winning dish was a coconut-scented risotto cake with spicy short ribs that we braised. On top of that, we added crispy sweet potatoes, and we had a nice sauce that we put on top of that as well. That was a sweet and sour, almost like a gastrique that we are going to use today as well. What I've done is I've chopped up fresh tomatoes. I have a chili from my garden. The heat on this is a little bit hot, so you can use as little or as lot as you want. We're using equal parts sugar and vinegar, and what we're going to do is we put that in a pan with onion, garlic, the chopped chilies, and you reduce it down until it's a thick syrup. It probably takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and you have to do it over low heat so you don't want to burn anything. And try to not stir it as much because it starts to crystallize the sugar and it binds it together. So you just want to kind of let it go. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to blanch our broccoli rabe, which is also going to go on top. And I already have my water here, and it's already salted and ready to go. What I've done is that I've cleaned the broccoli rabe on the stems, like the heavy stems, and I just have the leaves left. I'm going to drop that in the water, and I'm just going to let that cook. What I want to do is I want to par cook it so when I saute it, I don't have to worry about it losing its beautiful green color. It'll take a minute or so, and what I have here is a bowl of ice water. And what I'm going to do is call shocking, and it stops the cooking process and allows me to keep that color that I was so excited to get in the first place. And there we go. I already have some done over here. What I've done is that I've drained it, cooled it, and removed all the water. My flatbread is done, so I'm going to pull that off the heat, and I'm going to put it over here with the rest of the ones that I've done earlier. So now I'm going to take my broccoli rabe and I'm going to chop it up just a little bit and get ready to cook it. As far as being competitive in the kitchen, I'm very competitive. I am the person who always wants to outshine everybody when we have to bring a dish to any sort of event, but I just don't cook. I have to have a theme, so it's just not a plate of food. It has to have a purpose. I have a cookbook collection that spans the globe. You name the cuisine, I probably have a cookbook for it, or you name the genre, and I probably have something from vegan to vegetarian to grilling, sauces, breaking down meats. I have it all. I may be vegan, but I still have to cook for my husband, and he is definitely a meat eater. We have 2 smokers and 2 grills in our backyard, so I can guarantee you meat gets cooked at some point, but he also smokes tofu and mushrooms for me as well. So I've chopped up my broccoli rabe, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up my garlic. So my way of peeling the garlic is to smash it with the back of the knife, and that way I can easily get all the paper, I like to call it paper, off the back of the garlic. And then now all I'm going to do is give it a rough chop. And mince it up just roughly. It doesn't have to be super fine. And we're going to put that off to the side. Another way that you can do that is if you take a little bit of kosher salt when you're chopping the garlic, it sort of gives it a little bit of a rough surface to go against, and then it'll melt easily into your sauces. So now I'm taking my onion and I'm chopping it. I've done it lengthwise, and I've done it, and I call it the equator, and we have that as well. So we have our chopped onion as well as our garlic. Now we're going to take our oil, our garlic oil that we had earlier, and we're going to saute our broccoli rabe. So I'm just going to drizzle just a little bit of oil into the pan. 10 minutes. And we're going to get that going. Cooking for me can be therapeutic at times. I have lost probably 150 pounds in my lifetime, which I know sounds like a lot. I've gone from sort of making people fat to making people fit. I'm now a fitness instructor, and I probably teach between 17 to 20 classes a week. I teach everything from spin and boot camp to weightlifting for women, aqua aerobics, and everybody's favorite class, Zumba. I have my onions going, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of salt to draw out some of that water so I can get a little bit of a caramelization and get a flavor base going. I'm not going to add my garlic right away because what that'll do is it'll burn. If you wait just a little bit so that the onions start to get translucent, and then you add your garlic, it works out a lot better. The people that I cook for obviously are my family, but my students and my classes get to benefit as well. I figure they work really hard, that they should be able to reap a little bit of a reward as well. So sometimes I give them cookies or muffins or even chocolate truffles as a little bit of a treat. And they really do appreciate that. Plus I get a chance to cook for people who appreciate it. They work hard, they deserve a little treat from now and again. So we got that going. We season it with a little bit of salt. I'm going to season it with a little bit of pepper. One of the few cooking skills that I can say that I have that people seem to comment on is my ability to coax flavor out of things and give a flavor profile that's very different. The dish that I made for the judges that is different from what I'm making right now was maitake mushrooms that have been oven roasted with a barbecue spice to give the illusion of pulled chicken. And the judges actually did think it was chicken, so that sort of says a lot about it. So now that I have my onions and my garlic all done, I'm going to add my broccoli rabe. And all I have to do is heat this through because I want a little bit of toothsomeness to it. I don't want it to be mush. And again, I'm going to season again, just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And we're going to taste it. And a little bit of pepper. So we got that going. And now we're just going to get ready to put everything together. We're going to give it a little bit of a taste. Delicious. So now, I'm going to take one of my flatbreads here that I've already cooked earlier. And we're going to take our white beans and we're going to put it on the base. And that's going to be the glue that sort of binds this all together. Nice coat, so you get a little bit of it in every bite. Just like so. And then we're going to add our broccoli rabe on top of that. And you can also, don't forget those onions. That's beautiful. Now broccoli rabe is inherently bitter, so that's the reason that we've added that sweet and sort of sour gastrique of that tomato jam. And that's the next thing we're going to add. We have this beautiful tomato jam that I made earlier, and we're just going to put a little bit of that on top. So now we have the creaminess of the white bean puree with that little hint of onion. We have the sage and the fennel that's going to give us that sausage flavor, which is a classic combination with broccoli rabe. The sweetness and sort of that little bit of heat from the tomato jam. And to finish it all off, we're going to add a little bit of crispy shallot, which is going to give us another added dimension of crunch. And we're going to put it all on a plate here. But what I'm going to do is cut it up. Hey girls, you want to be taste testers for me? We're going to put it on a plate. And there you have it. Indian flatbread scented with fennel and sage, white bean puree, broccoli rabe, tomato jam, and crispy shallots. All right, have a taste. How is it?
It's really good. It's good.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.